The modified Japanese armbar is a great technique whenever your assailant stretches his arms out in an effort to maybe push you off of him or even choke you. So for example, if I smother Rich and he basically pushes me up, this is a good feed for a modified Japanese armbar. Or if Rich tries to choke me with one hand, again, I can use the modified Japanese armbar. So we're going to start with an easy reference point, 2 hands on my chest. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put one hand on top of the other, but what I'm going to make sure is that I'm surrounding one arm. So if I'm going to dislocate this arm or damage this arm, I'm going to have both of my arms around Rich's left arm. If I want to attack this arm, it would be like so. So if I'm going to go to my right, I'm going to have the hands like so. If I'm going to go to my left, I'm going to have my hands like so. So we're going to attack this arm here. This is the configuration. You have one hand on top of the other. You're forming almost like a cross or an X. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift my body up and I'm going to spin myself toward the right. And what I'm going to do, I'm doing it slowly of course, I'm going to fall back, grasp his wrists, keep it secure to my chest bone. Now when you do the technique, his head should lie on my thigh, almost like a pillow. My leg is bent and it's under his back. This leg is straight. Notice how both of my legs are not over Rich like a traditional Japanese armbar. That's why this is called a modified Japanese armbar. Once I'm in this position, my head goes down, his arm is married to my sternum, and I'm going to raise my hips up until I get submission. That's all it takes. It takes very little effort. I can hold his wrist down with 2 fingers, and I get submission. So it's called a modified Japanese armbar because we're not swinging both legs over his body, running perpendicular to his body. We're only swinging one leg over, which basically is our rear leg here, my left leg. So again, this is the feed. Hands are over. I spin, fall back. Make sure that his head is on your thigh like a pillow. If your head is down, his wrist is married to the sternum. Everything is tight and secure, and just no effort to get submission on that elbow. Notice when Mike does the technique that Rich's head will lie on his thigh like a pillow. Hold the position right there, Mike. Very good. One of the biggest mistakes beginners make is they actually have the thigh under the back, and the technique won't work. So it's very important to get your thigh under his head, not under his back when performing the modified Japanese armbar. Notice how Mike also grabs Rich's wrist and he really pulls it into the sternum, okay? And then he takes, obviously you can look at his right leg, he really pushes down with that right leg and stabilizes Rich's torso. And then all it takes, go ahead, Mike, blow the body up, and there's your submission. Go ahead. So, like all submission techniques, you have to have the assailant's anatomy lined up just right for it to work. And that is one of the limitations of ground fighting or submission fighting, is that you have to have that exact anatomical placement. And anybody who's been to a street fight realizes that it's like a car wreck, and sometimes you don't have the luxury of that exact alignment. Just bear that in mind. Some people have asked me, well, with this position, you don't have both legs over him. Can he take your leg and throw it over? And the answer to that is yes. Now, if the assailant sees this opportunity, he thinks, well, there's only one leg, I can just throw that over. It only puts him in a worse position. When Rich throws the legs over, I place the flat of my foot on the ground, my shin bone is against his neck. Notice how I haven't given up anything here. This is called a crucifix variation. Keeping his leg into the ground, everything tight. I'm going to squeeze my legs together and just bow the hips up. And again, I have submission. So if the assailant decides, let's assume that I wasn't fast enough to lift my hips up to get submission. In an act of desperation, he throws the leg over, I keep it flat behind the neck, and apply the crucifix variation.